Shalom, brothers and sisters in the Lord. This is Rory from 10losttribes.com. I'm getting fancy now. I'm brushing my hair. So that's the special effects for today. If I was in the army, I'd probably get booted for sure, but I pray that I'm not booted from the Lord's army, because war is coming upon the earth. So we're continuing in our talk about children breaking out of Babylon. This is all about the 144,000 and their role. And I've been sharing from Isaiah how it's not just Yeshua that the servant of the Lord is in Isaiah 42 and 49. It's also the 144,000 that continue his work for the second Exodus. So we've looked at the Yeshua and the 144,000 as the Bruised Reed. And now we're going to look at the polished shaft servant in Isaiah 49. Alrighty, a little technical issue there. Anyway, the polished shaft portion of the ministry of the 144,000 begins after the 7 trumpet judgments, which occur over 7 months, because the trumpets are blown once a month. So just like in Egypt there were 10 plagues, so there are the 7 trumpet judgments in the book of Revelation that lead to the second Exodus, which occurs in the second month. The second month is all about second Passover. It's all about the regathering of Israel and Judah in faith when the flood comes that Noah describes. There is a flood coming upon the earth. When the enemy comes in like a flood, it is the fall of Satan and his angels, and the earth opening up from beneath. Scary stuff. So the 7 trumpet judgments begin in the 7th month with the loosing of the 7th seal. The 144,000 therefore have a very short space of time, 7 or 8 months, to work for the Lord in their mortal flesh, but empowered by the Spirit increasingly, until they are raptured and return as the polished shaft. So let's get into Isaiah 49, which is all about that time. Isaiah 49 verses 1 to 2. Listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken, ye people from far. The Lord hath called me from the womb, from the bowels of my mother hath he made mention of my name. So this servant that we'll read about was called from the womb. Paul was separated from his mother's womb. Yeshua, of course, and John the Baptist from the womb. The Lord has some people that are called from the womb to do certain jobs. This is true for Yeshua, and it's also true for the 144,000. And he hath made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand hath he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In the quiver hath he hid me. By the way, some of that polishing might be going on during the initial ministry of the 144,000 as the Bruised Reed. The things that come against us can actually polish us. And said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. So Israel is the servant. We talked about that in the previous Isaiah 42, the later section of Isaiah 42. How both Israel is the servant and Yeshua is the servant, Moses is the servant, the 144,000 are the servant. But this is what Israel says. Then I said, I have laboured in vain, I have spent my strength for naught, and in vain, yet surely my judgment is with the Lord and my work with my God. You know, when Yeshua completed his work with the disciples, they all abandoned him and he was crucified. So it seemed like he had laboured in vain, but it was the resurrection that brought everything back from the dead, so to speak. And the church as we know it began. The 144,000 are going to be raised in glory after they've completed their initial Bruised Reed portion of their service for the Lord. And now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my God shall be my strength. Okay, he's being glorious. He's the polished shaft. Israel was still not regathered. They're just about to be regathered. The servant is used to bring Jacob again to him. So this servant is not all Israel. It's a subset of Israel. It's 144,000. And it was Yeshua in his time. But Yeshua hasn't regathered Israel. That he's brought them to himself by faith through the new covenant. But he hasn't brought them out from amongst the nations. And he hasn't raptured them into glory like we read in the New Testament. And he said, "It is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob." So he's talking to a subset of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. Raise up the tribes of Jacob, that's one of the jobs of Yeshua and the 144,000, and to restore the preserved of Israel. The preserved of Israel, in Hebrew it's Notzri, is the word preserved. And it's very similar to the word for Christian, Notzri, Notzrim. The preserved of Israel are the Christians of Israel. "I will give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth." So this servant is not the entire Israel. This servant is a subset of Israel that is actually being a light to the Gentiles. "Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth." See, when both Israel is despised by the nations, but also the servants of the Lord are despised. As Bruised Reeds, they are despised. They're despised by the religious. And that was true in Yeshua's time, and it's true in our day. The actual people that God is going to use will be despised by those that are in power, both in political power and in religious authority. "Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nations abhorreth, to a servant of rulers. Kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of the Lord that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee." Isn't that wonderful? The Lord has a remnant. He has a remnant. He has his 144,000 and he has the bride. Please see my bride series, the ascent of the bride, for that. Because the bride is also a servant. But the 144,000 come from her, but they're separate from her. As I've explained there, and we'll hope to explain at some stage on this, in these talks. "Thus saith the Lord, in an acceptable time," that time is Ritzon, acceptable, "have I heard thee. In a day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee and give thee for a covenant of the people," a Beritam. We talked about this before. "To establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages." Has Yeshua done that? Not yet, but he's about to through his 144,000 servants and through himself. He is going to preserve thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, a Berit Am. The Lord's desire is not just to regather Israel. It's also for Israel to be a light to the nations. And it's going to happen in an acceptable time. It's Jubilee language. "That thou mayest say to the prisoners, Go forth, to them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in high places." Now I believe these prisoners that he's talking about are physical prisoners. Remember the Holocaust? And there was prisoners that were still in the camps. So it will be again. "They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them." That brings us back to the songs of ascent in Psalm 121. "I'll lift up mine eyes into the hills." Again, watch my Ascent of the Bride series. The scriptures link up. the heat of the sun smiting them. It's all to do with the stuff that's happening in Revelation. It's happening in the Songs of Ascent in Psalm 121, because the heat of the sun is going to be much worse. Even the moon is going to hurt. For he that hath mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them. The Lord is a covenant keeper. He's bringing us out from amongst the nations. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. So God's going to make a way for us to leave our nations. Behold, these shall come from far. This is not a rapture. This is an actual physical move. It may be with the assistance of angels in the 144, but it's a physical translation to the mountains of Israel eventually, but to the wilderness. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Now, the land of Sinim, some say it's China. It could be. But it's translated Southland, because we've got the north and the west mentioned here. And they've translated the Southland. And in Latin, that's Terra Australis. And Australia was called the great Southland of the Holy Spirit by a Portuguese, I believe, or Spanish sailor, mariner, explorer for the Catholic Church. So this is the great Southland of the Holy Spirit. Well, I haven't seen a whole lot of the Holy Spirit in this great Southland, but sometimes the desert rains are slow in coming, but when they come, it's a deluge, and the whole desert blooms. And my prayer is that there'll be a move of God in this country. I already see it beginning, a stirring in the godless land of Australia. I say that as a patriot. I'm hopeful that there'll be a remnant raised up in Terra Australis and in New Zealand. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing. O mountains, for the Lord hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. This is during the tribulation. It's not all gloom. After the gloom and doom, there is a regathering. And it's not far away. This is going to happen quickly. The hammer's going to fall hard, and there's a small remnant that he's going to raise up. So that's all. We've looked at the polished shaft, and we've looked at the bruised reed. Two different sides of Yeshua, two different sides of the 144,000's ministry. We are on the cusp of judgment now. The horsemen are about to gallop. I believe that the seals have been loosed 6 years ago. There's 2 lots of 7 years, just like in Genesis, because Isaiah 46:10 says the end is in the beginning. The end is declared in the beginning. So there were 2 lots of 7 years that Jacob worked for a wife. There were 2 lots of 7 years in Pharaoh's dream. 7 good years and 7 evil. We're coming to the end of the 7 good years. The 7th seal opens at the beginning of the 7th year. Then after that is the system of the Antichrist and the beast system, which they're going to begin to try and force now. Thank you very much, and shalom and blessings to you wherever you are.